right, ladies and gentlemen, it is February 12th. We are filming on February 10th. And a early but happy Valentine's Day to you, your loved ones, whether it's a significant other, an animal.
Happy Valentine's Day to my wife and my girlfriend.
There you go. There you go. Or your kids, whatever. Just show the love as we show the love here on Sports on 10 Cent Beer Night, because we are the official sports show of FifthDimensionRadio.com in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, every Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But happy Valentine's to you. And you know what I love, Bob? I love the fact the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl last night.
They creamed them.
Oh, my goodness. I could not have asked for. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me explain before we get confused here. I don't hate the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't hate the fans. They don't bother me at all. Pat Mahomes' ego, the Taylor Swift talk, all that for 2 whole years, 3 years. Well, Taylor Swift's been 2 years, but the Chiefs for 3 years. And then all the biasness from the refs, all those games, which was not made up. That happened until last night. Calls a fair game, and all of a sudden the result's different. And for the record, they are a very talented team and deserve to be there. But it was just a nice change of pace. The former Mount Union coach, Nick Sirianni, wins the Super Bowl, their second ever in franchise history. Andy Reid took them there a couple of times. He was the Kansas City Chiefs head coach there, but did not succeed. And it's funny because there's only been twice in the NFL. Maybe there's been 3 or 4 times, but twice within the past 20 years where a team has had a shot at a three-peat, and the Eagles were the reason it didn't happen. So they beat the Patriots in between Super Bowls there, and then they beat the Chiefs on the verge of their three-peat.
There is one team that won 3 in a row. Three in a row.
Not Super Bowl.
Not Super Bowl, but 3 championships in a row.
And who was that?
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
65, they won the NFL championship before the NFL merged together. And, of course, they won 66 and 67, the first 2 Super Bowls. So they won 3 straight championships.
Right. I was about to bring up, they won the first Super Bowl, too. So, yeah. Green Bay's got a rich history there. And they don't have to deal with the drama with the Aaron Rodgers, which Saturday he announced that it sounds like he's not going to retire, but he's not going to return to the Jets.
Possibility, maybe?
41 years old. I don't know if we should take it.
Draft a quarterback, and he'd be a good mentor.
I mean, they need something, and he was better than what we had all last year. So,
I'm 41 years old. How old was what's his name?
Flacco.
Flacco.
He was like 38, 39.
Well, I mean, what's a couple of years?
Right, and people would take him back, and he's 40 now. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna worry about the Browns right now. I need a break from certain football because this year was just, aside from the Super Bowl, which was great.
It was great.
And congratulations to the Eagles. Seriously.
There's a young man, I can't think of his name right now, that was on the Eagles team from Akron here. Went to St. Vincent St. Mary.
Parrish.
Yeah.
The only, believe it or not, between the two teams, the only Ohio State player to play the Super Bowl last
from
night.
Akron, Ohio.
Right. They were talking about which college had more players. In the top 10, Toledo was there. As far as between, I didn't say that right. How many players from each college that were playing in the Super Bowl between the two teams? That's what I meant to say. Toledo had, I think, 4. I'm going by memory here. It may have been 2.
Toledo's always got at least one
right.
kid gets drafted.
And remember, the one cornerback for the Eagles was first-round pick. So in this past draft, so he played there. And then, kind of a fun tidbit too, Bob, from last night. Yesterday, 2 of the Eagles players had birthdays. Okay, one was Saquon Barkley, the star running back there. The other was, I think it was not him. I'm looking at the interceptions here. Cooper DeJean. Okay, he's a rookie. They both had their birthday yesterday. DeGene is 33, not in age, his number.
Number 33.
And Barkley's 26. So it's 59 combined. They won Super Bowl 59 last night on their birthday.
That's pretty weird.
That was kind of strange and fun, but
There's always a lot of little strange fun facts come out of stuff like this.
right, exactly. But no, I mean this has been for especially Browns fans. This was a tough season to just watch. You know, and it has nothing to do with the Eagles or the Chiefs. It's just when you have a long season like this, you just look forward to the end of football because, especially Bob, like they were the baseball fans for say last night. Now
the real sport begins.
Yeah, there you go.
Friday,
spring training. Yep.
Valentine's Day.
MLB on Fox already had pictures of spring training getting prepared. But yesterday they were doing that. So on Sunday here. So real quick, I didn't want to read off. I know a lot of you already know it, but the awards for the NFL that were presented last Thursday, MVP was quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. We were talking before break. I did not quite agree with that one. He had a great year, don't get me wrong, but Lamar Jackson's numbers were all over the place, great across the board. Saquon Barkley was 110 rushing yards away from the all-time record for a regular season. I just thought Allen should have been third right there. And they did say one of the factors why Jackson didn't win it, a former Steelers quarterback gave him fourth place vote in the MVP.
Well, who quarterback was this?
Jim Miller.
Oh, Jim Miller.
Yeah, I don't remember him, but yeah,
he is
but him being a Steelers quarterback, yeah, they didn't think it was.
I can see it was Randolph, but.
Oh no, I don't think they'll let him vote.
I don't know who Miller. Who the heck is Miller?
I don't know, but he's more relevant than Mason Rudolph. Coach of the year, rightfully so, went to Minnesota Vikings Kevin O'Connell, a former Cleveland Browns quarterback coach. He was Johnny Manziel's quarterback coach when he was here. And then he worked with the Rams for a time period, and then Vikings made him head coach. And he had an incredible year, no doubt. They got that one right. Defensive Rookie of the Year was Jared Verse, defensive end for the Los Angeles Rams there. He was the 19th overall pick out of Florida State. He had 4.5 sacks, 66 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. So that good for him. Comeback Player of the Year for the second time in his career is Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. There was a case for MVP there, but he kind of fell short.
He fell short.
That was your fourth place vote. If you were to give a fourth place vote for the MVP, that was the guy right there.
But he did have a good year considering all he's been through.
I think you're going to see him hold the MVP award within the next couple of years, as long as he can stay healthy, because that's what he does. He'll have a great year. The next year, get hurt and miss the majority of the season.
That's a lot of his problems right now.
When he plays, he's a top 5 quarterback, though. I mean, he's a very good quarterback, and that's what hurts in the AFC North is you have Lamar and you have Joe. And then for the Browns, you have question marks. And for the Steelers, you have question marks because now it's coming out both quarterbacks are not going to be back. So that's come out.
So who's Fields?
Fields is a free agent too. They might not bring him back.
Well, I like to see him come to Cleveland. At least I'll name.
He fits the offense too, but we'll see. Offensive Player of the Year was Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl winning running back Saquon Barkley, rightfully so there, as I've explained. Defensive Player of the Year beating out Myles Garrett was Denver Broncos cornerback Patrick Surtain Jr. Remember seeing his dad play back in the day there. He shut down some of the top receivers there. He got a pick 6. I know, like 100-plus yards, a pick 6 one game. Surrendered the fewest receiving yards of anyone in his position there, and he did have 4 interceptions total. No, great player. And they were rumored to trade him a year ago, and I thought they were insane, and it's a good thing they didn't. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels. Rightfully,
he had a good year.
He had, yeah. I mean, and I called it when I looked at this quarterback class for this past draft. I said, this is going to be the top guy coming out. I said, if anybody's going to have the best rookie year out of all these quarterbacks, it's him. Because I just saw it like this. He was he was overshadowed by Caleb Williams, but I said, dude, this guy reminds me of Cam Newton. The way he moves the ball with his arm and his feet. And he definitely, he led him to the NFC title game. There's no argument there. He did great.
I mean, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season Washington was going to be in the NFC title game, I would have said, nah, there ain't no way.
No, I would say they were improved, but no, I mean, they really played well this year, and I don't think it's a fluke. I think they have a special feature brewing there in Washington. The question is, what will be their name at the end of March?
They said there wasn't going to be no name change. I did hear that.
So they delay because they don't own the rights to Commanders. That's why. So there's going to eventually be one, but and so it sounds like they're going to delay the year. They rent the
They
name
will be the Commanders next year.
Okay.
Yeah, that did come out. I just see that.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, they do not own the naming rights to the Commanders. I don't even know how that all happened, but it happened. Assistant Coach of the Year goes to Detroit Lions offensive coordinator and now new Chicago Bears head coach, Ben Johnson. So he went for obvious reasons. He won it there. And that's it. That was your big awards this year. But yeah, football's over. Football's over. You know,
it ain't over. Come July, the Hall of Fame. You had four people put in the Hall of Fame.
That's right. We didn't mention the Hall of Fame.
You got to mention the Hall of Fame, man.
Yeah, we'll start off here with the Mac kid from Kent State, Antonio Gates, tight end for they were San Diego Chargers when he played. They're Los Angeles now, but
yeah, he's going. We've seen him play many times. Kent and Akron.
Yeah, well, he played basketball for Kent. He never played football.
But we've seen him. He's a talented kid.
Right. And for those that don't know at home, he never played college football. Never played. He played. He was part of the Kent State basketball team that made the Elite Eight.
Yep.
But that he never played college football. I think it was a tryout, wasn't it?
He had a tryout.
Yeah. And they brought him in, made him tight end, and stereotypically, don't ask me why. There's many examples out there.
Well, he was a very athletic kid,
right? But basketball players that can play football tend to be awesome tight ends. It's the way, like.
Well, it's like LeBron.
Right. Well, he was wide receiver.
Yeah,
in high school,
but he did a great job at St. V when he was there. He played football for St. V.
Right.
He had a chance to go play for football, and he decided to stay with basketball.
Absolutely. Eric Allen, who played 19 years, he played a lot for the Philadelphia Eagles, so of course he was very happy last night. And he also played for New Orleans and Oakland as well. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame there. Jared Allen, he played for Kansas City Chiefs, were some of his best years. He was traded in 2007 to the Vikings, and I remember that trade and how big of a deal it was. And then he was Defensive Player of the Year in 2011 for the Vikings. He had good years with both of them, but Kansas City's where he blew up, and then Minnesota, that was like his peak years there. He did play for Chicago and Carolina at the end, and I do remember that. I wanted him in Cleveland for a minute, but that time it never happened. They weren't a very attractive team to go to.
Cleveland? They ain't attractive now.
They're a little more attractive than they were at that time. That time you couldn't sell yourself.
Maybe they give them a new dome.
And then we mentioned Antonio Gates. They did it different this year, where they had a friend or an old teammate or family break the news to him about the Hall of Fame. LaDainian Tomlinson was the one that presented to Antonio Gates, so as a big surprise there. Then Sterling Sharpe.
He deserves to be there.
Sterling Sharp, excuse me.
Sterling Sharp.
Yep. For the Green Bay Packers, he played with Brett Favre and all that. His brother Shannon Sharp broke the news to him. He went to his house thinking they were just going to hang out and just do brother stuff. And he went down in the basement, and there he is with a gold jacket breaking the news to him, and he thought he was joking at first. And then when he saw the cameras and he realized, oh no, because it was the seniors that voted him in there. So that's it, just 4 guys. Just 4 guys for the Pro Football Hall of Fame in August, not July. But in August.
Well, it begins, I know, because I got to work it.
Right.
It ends of July is when
so we could probably guess the Hall of Fame game. Maybe Packers and Chargers, maybe, because Chiefs is too much of a home name there. unless they want to do Eagles and Chiefs in the hall. I mean, they could.
They could.
They could. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You got a couple Hall of Famers that were both teams. That was the Super Bowl. You start where you ended. It could be. You're not going to see Mahomes or Barkley suit up, but you're going to see Chiefs and Eagles possibly in that Hall of Fame game. But they usually pick two teams that have Hall of Famers there. So just some ideas to pass around there. It could be Chargers and Eagles. It could be anything there. But congratulations to them. Congratulations to Antonio Gates, the Mac kid there. It's always cool to see.
I remember Gates in basketball. Man, he was good. He was good.
Absolutely. I'm pulling
Who
up.
was the coach at Kent when they went to the Elite Eight?
Oh, I don't remember.
Was it
I would have to look it up there. He's from Detroit, which I did not know. He's not from Ohio.
who?
Gates,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But he stays. I think he still stays in this area. Because he, I think after his Kent career, they got a house. He moved to the Kent area, Brimfield, out there in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, he originally according to Wikipedia, he originally enrolled at Michigan State University and wanted to play football under then coach Nick Saban, as well as basketball coach under Tom Izzo. What an opportunity that would have been.
Tom Izzo?
For both. I mean, Nick Saban,
exactly.
and I forgot Saban was with Michigan State for a minute, yeah. He chose to pursue play basketball by transferring to Eastern Michigan University. He played there as part of a season before transferring to College of Sequoias, a junior college in California, to focus on academics. Recruited by Stan Heath.
Yep. Stan Heath was the Kent State coach. That's who it was.
Gates transferred to Kent State University in Northeastern Ohio. And, 16 points, 8-point rebounds. I mean, those are great stats for collegiate basketball player, no matter where you play. And lead 8 in 2002. He received honorable mentions at All-American honors, and he did his last season. He averaged 20.6 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 4.1 assists on top of that. Yeah, his jersey 44 is retired in 2010. And then again, he was an unrestricted free agent in college. He was not drafted, and what a story that is. Like, after everything he's been through, even concentrated back on his academics, so he's a smart man. No kid went to school for him, like some of the Ohio State players we could mention, but we're not going to do that. As much as I love them, it's real life. But the guy went through a roller coaster and found a Hall of Fame career in the NFL. And he only stayed with the Chargers, too. He was there the entire time. But
I wonder what he would have been like if he would have stayed with the basketball and
Scouts told him he was too much of a tweener. That was the quote I read. So, they didn't think he was big, which is funny because in football, you got to be a good size, too, to take the hit. But, it may have been a blessing in disguise. Would he have been a Hall of Famer in he sounded like he was good in basketball, but, he dominated in football. He wasn't just a first-time ballot Hall of Famer for a reason. He was dominant, but...
Yeah.
We got to take a break, Bob. When we come back, there's a lot of great basketball to talk about regarding the Cavaliers, the Zips, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. So we're going to talk about NBA and college because All-Star Weekend's this weekend. And there's a chance, don't quote me, we might have another Cavalier involved. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our second segment in today's 10-cent beer night here on Fifth Dimension Radio.com. I'm Seth.
I'm Bob.
There you go, Bob. Cavaliers 42-10 as of now. I know while you're listening to this, they will be playing their second game of the week here, but we'll first start with last week's games. Last Tuesday, and I was at the game. They played the Celtics on Donovan Mitchell bobblehead night. They lost 105-112. Not a bad game. They could have done better in some aspects. Officiating was weird because when they came back and they were down by 4, the refs literally on one possession called some bad calls, which gave the Celtics 4 chances to score again.
Were they Chiefs refs?
Almost like it. It was very questionable, but it wasn't one where you look and go, "Oh, we look so bad." Da, da, da. They lost to a good team and they put up a fight. They came back. The issue was I would say inconsistent defense, but also that first half, the shooting was so bad. It was so bad. And same thing could be said about the Celtics, but it was especially bad for the Cavaliers. I mean, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, that saying. So it was a little bit of a rough night, but it wasn't one to cry about. It was more one to build, just regroup and get through it there. Wednesday, February 5th, they played the Detroit Pistons. 118-115 was the final. Pistons forced a foul and to get it was like a 3-point foul or something to find a way to tie the game. Darius Garland from past the halfway mark hit the game-winning 3, and JB Bickerstaff is just shaking his head some more. He cannot believe it. It's been a very rough ride to just watch him just get annihilated by the Cavs over and over again. Thursday, the next day, Cavs made a trade.
Yep.
They made a trade, and I actually really liked the trade too. They did a trade with the Atlanta Hawks. They sent Caris LeVert, George Niang, 2 second-round picks, and 2 first-round pick swaps, which might not mean anything at the end of the day, for DeAndre Hunter of the Atlanta Hawks. And for those that don't know DeAndre Hunter, small forward, big guy, about like 6'9", great accurate 3-point shot, great 3-and-D guy. He will probably start. He probably won't come off. I know he is playing tonight, Monday, while we're talking. You'll know the result by the time you hear this, but that will be his start there. Hunter was drafted with the 4th overall pick in 2019, just above when the Cavs selected Darius Garland. The Cavs really liked both Hunter and Garland, and there was rumors they liked Hunter a little bit more. What happened was the Lakers originally had the 4th overall pick, so they selected him, but the pick was traded to the Pelicans in the Anthony Davis trade, and we're talking about the first, not the one that just happened recently. We're talking about the one in 2019. And on top of that, then the Pelicans flipped it to the Hawks in another trade, so the Hawks were the ones that selected DeAndre Hunter at the end of the day, and they really want him. They trade up. They knew Cleveland and other teams had an eye on him, so they traded up and made it happen. And now Cavs add a piece they wanted for a while, along with Garland, who, I'll be honest, Garland was probably the better pick in that top 5 there. Some even say if there was a draft duo, they think the Pelicans would have picked him first overall over Zion Williamson, just because Garland's been healthier and more productive. Because when Williamson plays, he plays well, but he's so hurt all the time. They're rebuilding again, Bob. They did some trades over the past week at the trade deadline, the Pelicans did, and they've made it clear they're pretty much rebuilding at this point. Mm-hmm. And so, which is just, they were sitting pretty back in 2019. Now they're not sitting pretty anymore. So the Cavs added a big piece there in Hunter. And I know George Niang started last night for the Hawks, did pretty decent.
I like that kid.
Yeah, I like both of them, but here's what it came down. Let me explain. First of all, Hunter was a piece, like Kobe Altman was saying. Not only do they want him for a while, they really like him. He fits the system. They were looking past April, is what his exact words. So they brought him in because they said, this is a guy that's going to take us over the top. And he is. He's locked up till 2027, by the way, in contract. So this is a guy that they're going to get for the next few years on top of what they already have. So their starting lineup is set till 2027. Pretty much at this point. And Caris LeVert, I love the guy. He had a great start to the season, but his production dipped. And it dipped last year, too, at this time. And so, with him being a free agent next year, they were wondering, is he worth hanging on to? When you're just not seeing it. He had 9 points for the Hawks last night. He had 4 fouls. But he didn't shoot the ball very well, either. Hawks did win that game. George Niang, he was great as on the court defending players when there was unnecessary fouls and all that. He was a solid 3-point shooter, but he was very inconsistent. There would be games where he would drop 24 points out of nowhere and be a key player to the game. The next game he would drop 4, miss a lot of shots, and just have 4 or 5 fouls or something like that. So he was old, but even before the Cavs got him, he was known for being a solid player that was inconsistent. And so they're bringing in this DeAndre Hunter, who was kind of up for sixth man of the year until the trade, because now he's going to start. And this guy, he's averaging 19 points a game, 8 rebounds. I mean, I saw them play the Hawks in person this year, in November.
Well, they beat Cavs twice out of 3 times.
Right.
Twice, three meetings they beat them twice.
And he's got this sharp, high, arcing 3-point shot that, because one, he's like 6'9", so you have to be tall to defend it. And it's so accurate. And I mean, it looks so pretty when he releases it long distance and nails it the way he does. So, I mean, he's coming onto his own. The reason some people probably wonder, well, why did the Hawks trade him? They won the first overall pick this past year and drafted the kid out of France. I don't have his name in front of me right now, but he's the same position. So they started him because it's like, this guy's got a higher ceiling than he does, you know? So, I'll pull his name up right now, actually.
Pierre.
No, it's not Pierre. It's Zachary Rissacher.
Is that a French name?
It is now. But
I like Pierre.
I mean, he's up there with Victor Wembanyama too. I mean, he's French too, and that doesn't sound French, but he's French. You know, he's a French guy. Back to back French guys picked. Hasn't happened since back to back Canadians picked with the Cavs with Anthony Bennett and Andrew Wiggins, but that's a whole other story.
Canadians can't play basketball. They're hockey players.
Don't tell Tristan Thompson that. He might get upset.
Is he Canadian?
He's Canadian, yeah. Yeah, because Cavs were known of the only team that's picked Canadians in the top 5 multiple times, because he was the 4th overall pick. Oh. Then Anthony Bennett was the 1st overall pick. Then Andrew Wiggins was the 1st overall pick.
I wonder if Thompson likes hockey.
I think he does. We'll ask him. He's still on the team.
That's the Canadian sport. It's hockey, you know.
There you go. So anyway, real quick to finish off the week, Cavs then played the Wizards on Friday night, shorthanded because they were without LeVert and Niang. Wizards were very shorthanded. They did a lot of trades. They got some guys back, but they have to pass physicals and whatnot. I mean, they're waiting on like 5, 6 guys to pass physicals. So they only had 8 players active, the lowest you can go, the minimum to do an NBA game. And they hung in there. The Cavs beat them 134-124, but the Wizards gave them a fight. Jordan Poole had 45 points. As a result of the Pistons and Wizards victories against those two, their longest win streak per team is the Pistons and Wizards, now at 12 games each. So there you go.
I know they always play Detroit. I'm good. You know,
right. So if they beat the Pistons and the Wizards, they might be done with the Wizards this year. I'll check again. But I know they play Detroit one more time. If they beat Detroit one more time, they have swept them for 3 straight years. Reminder that J.B. Bickerstaff is probably not liking any of this right now. But that's where the Cavs sit. For this week, okay, Monday night, you'll know the result by the time you hear this. They play the Timberwolves in Cleveland. Last time these two teams played, Cavaliers beat them up in Minnesota, played very well, by English. DeAndre Hunter is going to play tonight. They do have a roster space open because they traded away 2 players, okay? They did try to get Ben Simmons, who was bought out by the Nets. He's going to go to the Clippers.
Oh, man, I was hoping to get him. Well, I was waiting for you to say we got him.
I would have been open to it with this coaching staff. The thing is, too, this guy's known not to care about winning, and the Clippers are not that good this year. So this is telling me this guy passed up on a good opportunity, you know. So
if you don't care about winning, go to Clippers.
Right. So they're going to be patient in the buyout market. There's no rush to get anybody else right. I mean, they've won with all these injuries and whatnot, and still are playing very well. The rumor I heard this morning, which I like, Sports Illustrated is speculating Marvin Bagley III. He was the 2nd overall pick in 2018. He has not panned out to be a 2nd overall pick, but he's solid. This is a big man for the Wizards last year that averaged 13 points per game and 8 rebounds, all right? Wizards traded him to Memphis in a trade that sent Marcus Smart to the Wizards. By the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. Cavs had 3 names that they were looking for at trade deadline. Their final 3. DeAndre Hunter, who they got. Cam Johnson from the Nets, who was overpriced but they liked. And he was more expensive, too. And Marcus Smart. Believe it or not, they targeted Marcus Smart in the trade market. but they're saying Memphis might buy out Bagley. They said that could be something the Cavs could look forward to, and I love the idea. A 6'10" guy rebounds well, defends well, and can put up points when you need him to. He's not a high. He's a disappointment as a second overall pick, but as a solid big man, he's healthy. He plays a lot. I like the idea. You sign him to a minimum 1-year deal, and he backs up Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and you give them more rest while keeping a big man that scores and rebounds and defends tough. I like the idea. I was hoping maybe Kevin Love would get bought out. I was hoping.
I would like to see Kevin back.
It sounds like he's not going to be bought out though. I was hoping Nerf Kick, who recently was traded to the Hornets.
Because if Kevin comes back to the Cavaliers, LeBron's right behind him.
And then we're back to that conversation this summer. But they're going to be patient, but they are going to look for a veteran. It sounds like it's going to be a big man, which I completely agree with. That was the one position. That and another forward. They got their forward in Hunter. And now if they get another big man here, they're going to be pretty much set. But I have to stress out something to everybody, including especially you, Bob. They make this Hunter trade, okay? It is important, vastly important. This would have helped them in the Celtics game. This would have helped them in the Pistons and Wizards game. They need, and I can't stress this enough, Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro to get back healthy and stay healthy till July. If this team is going to make it to the finals, if they're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, either way you want to look at it, they need these two guys. If they have these two guys healthy with everything they have, they're set. You have your three-point shooters and you have your defenders right there, and your rebounders between the two of them too. And I mean, they are two bigger. They're missing them bad right now. Like they're winning these games, but they'd be winning by more if they had Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro healthy.
There ain't nobody that wants to see Dean Wade healthy.
Right.
He's my man.
Right. Absolutely.
Not in
that way. But he's your favorite. He's your favorite Cavalier. You've watched him grow since the Charge.
I watch him come up in the Charge organization, man.
Right. They were talking the other day actually about 3 members of the front office. One's an Akron kid that was best friends with LeBron. I actually know some of the fans. I can't think of it. I'm dropped.
Not Rome. I know he's working for the Cavaliers.
Yes. But they were giving him credit until the name can pop up. They were giving him those 3 credit for their G League and their scouting of Dean Wade, Craig Porter Jr., who's their backup point guard, even Lamar Stevens, who was with the Cavs. But just these budding, undrafted guys who have become solid role players.
God, I can't think of his name now.
Right.
They were the Fab Five when they called them when they was all saying V.
Yeah. But I mean, they have a good group in the front office that is just holding on and developing these great role players there. And that's Atlanta Hawks originally wanted Jalen Tyson, the first-round pick they had this past year. They also wanted Craig Porter Jr. Kobe Altman stood firm and said, I don't want those guys leaving the team. So he got what he wanted without giving up a first-round pick. He got the swaps, which means Atlanta gets to pick the better out of the two. But right now it looks like Cleveland's got a better future than Atlanta. So the picks would probably stay the same, to be honest. So, I mean, the swaps is whatever. That happens to be if the Cavaliers have a higher pick than Atlanta.
Marcus Carter.
He was it's somebody else I'm thinking of.
Carter's with the Cavaliers.
Carter's there. There's another guy, though. That's
what I was thinking.
Yeah, Carter's been Maverick Carter, I think.
Maverick Carter, yeah.
He's been there for a minute. There's another name I can't think of. And I feel bad because these are hardworking men from Akron that had their fingerprints with the Cavaliers, and they got to start from LeBron, when
they all played in the same team with Drew Joyce, Jeromeo Travis. They all was on the same team there in St. V.
Absolutely. And then Wednesday night, they're going to be at Toronto, and that will be on FanDuel. And they should win that game there. And that is it because All-Star Weekend is this weekend. So, and I brought up, Kenny Atkinson's the head East coach this year because they don't go by, it's not like in baseball where they go by who went to the World Series. They go by current who's doing well. So Atkinson goes to be the coach. They've already picked their teams. because Shaq's got a team, Charles Barkley's got, because they split it up now.
They're the
yeah.
4 teams now.
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell's going to be there, of course. He's going to be a starter. You have Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Bucks is out officially. They're looking for a replacement. Jared Allen could be under consideration. So it's not official.
He deserves it.
I would say the argument is I would love to see it. I think it could happen. Allen cooled off statistically the past couple weeks before the voting ended. And we're talking about the past like 3.5 weeks. He played well, but he didn't play all-star well. The first couple months of the season, he played all-star like.
He's had a pretty good season.
Yeah, but I'm throwing out there could be a chance you could see a 4th Cavalier there, but they're going to look at it and see who deserves it at the end of the day. But they will have to pick a replacement from the East to replace Antetokounmpo right there. So there you have it. But overall, I love the trade. I think this is going to really take him up a notch. As far as who's going to replace Kyrgios for George Niang, with LeVert, you're going to see Ty Jerome's going to basically be that role player. You also got Sam Merrill, who's playing very well, playing on defense and offense. This is going to, again, I can't stress, when Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro come back, that's when the rotation is fulfilled. Even with that buyout spot, even with the empty roster spot, those are the 2 more important players because they not only know the system, but they contribute so well. It's statistically proven the Cavs win more games when Dean Wade plays because of his defense and his 3-point shooting, And then when Okoro's there, you get more steals. So they need these 2 guys. I cannot stress it enough. They get these 2 guys out there healthy with everything else they got. They're in good hands. It's all there. This is a great team. But I think the DeAndre Hunter team trade does take it up a notch there. You'll still have Max Strus come off the bench and play well too in the shooting guard small forward spot. But there's a lot to like. But I think they can win these 2 games this week, go into All-Star break, enjoy themselves, and then we'll come back the next week and see how things will look. But 42-10. They didn't lose 10 games until February.
It's funny. They're going into the All-Star break, and they're 42-10. So that's 52 games out of an 82 game. So they're over halfway there.
They won 46 last year, to put it in perspective.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the All-Star game's usually halfway through the season.
Yeah.
We're at 2/3 of the season now.
Yeah. It's the way it is.
Same
thing with baseball. It's very similar.
Baseball is always in the midsummer classic.
It is the midsummer. Yeah,
it is.
It's not the mid-schedule classic.
It's not the mid. It's always in with July.
Right.
Because it's midsummer. That's the best sport there is.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about that, though. We'll talk about baseball, and spring training starts this weekend. We got to take a break, though. We'll be back. And welcome to our last segment of 10 Cent Beer Night today on this fantastic Valentine's week. I'm Seth.
I'm Bob.
11 in a row, Bob. 11 in a row for the Akron Zips men's basketball team there. They were 7-5 11 games ago, and now they're 18-5. This past week beating Ball State last Tuesday, 81-73. In Akron, and then in Akron this past Saturday beat South Alabama 80-65.
In this Sun Belt Conference Challenge,
which has not been a challenge for the MAC, from my understanding.
MAC won 8 of the 10 games. So, in Kent State, Akron beat the number 2 team in the Sun Belt Conference, South Alabama. Kent State beat the number 1 team in the Southwest Conference. In the South, whatever, South Belt Conference or whatever it is, Southern Belt, Sun Belt Conference.
We're going to need to give them a new challenge here. No offense to Sun Belt fans there. Akron is number 1 in the MAC, 10-0 in the conference, 18-5 overall. Miami of Ohio is also 18-5, but they're 9-1. That one being the Akron.
loss to Akron.
Yep, Miami, Ohio's been playing very, very well, but yeah, we're looking in the MAC, and Kent State's 5-5, but above them, Ohio 6-4, Toledo 8-2. I mean, so it's getting to the meteor time period for the conference play, and I love this time of the year. I just this is the fun time of the year, Bob. I mean, you have pack skis, desserts at Giant Eagle,
Yeah.
and I bring because it's the Ohio thing. Like when they come out with all different flavors, it's a big deal because after February they disappear and they don't come back. The only thing missing too is this used to be the time of year growing up where the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue would come out.
They don't do that no more.
No, they don't. I don't think. I don't know.
I think Sports Illustrated even folded, didn't it?
It did. I know swimsuit issue got pushed back to the summer after 2020, which was because this was like the tradition. It's Valentine's week. There's Patskis. There's NBA All-Star Weekend. There's the swimsuit edition, and there's no swimsuit edition now. But you could always dig up the old ones for old time's sake.
Yeah.
We used to back in the day, Bob, for college, sit around with beer, pizza.
I only bought Sports Illustrated one time a year, and that was a swimsuit. I'll be the first to admit that.
Back when I was in the college days, we would have like a hookah going and like have beer, and then pass the latest issue of Sports Illustrated swimsuit. We'd do that for a solid 3 months and look at the same thing over and over again. But it used to be a fun time, man. I mean, it's
now you can't do that no more. You got to be politically correct. You can't, you can't show those women in bikinis. They got to be fully dressed. Politically correct.
That agenda's going out the window soon, so
we'll have,
So anyway, back to basketball. Tuesday, you'll know the result by the time you hear this. They're playing Western Michigan in Akron on ESPN Plus at 7 p.m. Yep, Bob will be there, and tell your brother go Zips.
Go Zips.
And then Saturday, the 15th, they're at Central Michigan on ESPN Plus. So that is Akron's schedule this week. Hopefully they can keep the streak alive. I like their chances here. Ohio State had a decent week last week. We brought up, it was a little over a week ago, they beat ranked Illinois. Maryland ended up moving up to 18, while Illinois, I think, moved a little bit down. So they play them Thursday. Beat Maryland, so they beat back-to-back number 18 teams, 73-70 in Columbus. But Sunday they lost to Nebraska 71-79. But they've been playing much better of late. In the standings, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the Big Ten. They're 6-7 in the conference, 14-10 overall. But there's a lot of
one thing about the Big Ten, all the teams make the tournament.
Right.
So when the MAC, only the top 8 teams make the tournament.
Right.
So so if they start playing well now, come tournament time, they could be right there.
Right.
A lot because everybody's going to make it.
A lot of analysts like how the Ohio State's been playing of late. I mean, and they've been beating ranked teams. They got another one this week, Wednesday, February 12th. But while you're listening to this, they're playing on the Big Ten Network. This is their first game against Washington as a member of the Big Ten in men's basketball. This is in Columbus here. And Washington, real quick, let me pull that.
I just ain't used to that.
Yeah. Washington's at second to last, so they should win that game there. I would anticipate. But then Sunday, on the 16th on CBS, 1 o'clock, it's the big battle. They play the team up north that's ranked number 24 in the nation. I still like this team's chances because they've been back-to-back ranked, actually 3 straight, Big Ten, because they beat Purdue a few weeks ago, if you can remember. So they beat 3 straight Big Ten ranked teams. So this is not out of their wheelhouse to play Michigan
and
there.
Where are they playing at Ann Arbor?
They are playing, yes, I believe so. I just had it. I was gonna look up. No, they're in Columbus all week. So
good.
So that's their home field advantage all week. There, Michigan is third in the conference, 10-2 in conference play, 18-5 overall. So they got the same overall record as the Zips. Yeah, because Purdue's number 7 in the nation, Michigan State's number 11 in the nation, Wisconsin's 16th in the nation. Illinois dropped out of the top 25. Maryland's now 25th, and that's all thanks to Ohio State. So that's excellent there. So there.
Now there's a big thing coming up. Of course, our show will be over by will be played before, but next Tuesday night, the 18th, they're retiring a number.
Oh, I forgot to bring this up. Yeah.
You better bring that up because they're retiring a number.
Go ahead.
They're retiring a number. Ricky Freeman is having his number retired and putting in the rafters at the University of Akron.
That's right. I would kick myself if we forgot to mention it. Yeah, that was announced against Northern Illinois on the 18th, and they're doing a Ricky Freeman.
I'm hoping Ricky's there.
Yeah, that's why, because of All-Star break and all that. They're still on break.
Okay.
So
Ricky will be there.
Yeah, that's why they waited till then. But yes, Ricky Freeman, the second-round pick to the Pacers.
And he's still on their roster. He's still on the roster.
He never was sent. I don't think at this point in time he's going to be on the roster for the rest of the season. Yeah. I don't think he's going to go to G League.
But this is a kid, I'll tell you, a walk-on.
Right.
No scholarship, no nothing. Walked on to the university from a little dinky high school up there in Cleveland. You know, this kid was amazing. So I'm hoping a lot of the guys that played with him are there that night too.
I think they will be. It happened with Romeo Travis too. There's, by the way, first 2,000 fans. I'll just give them a little quick ad anyway. Get a Ricky Freeman replica jersey. Yeah, I don't think it'll be a jersey, but they did it for Jason Taylor too for football, and it's a nice jersey shirt. Like for free, it was very nice. I love mine.
But the first 2,000, so
yeah,
if
so
you plan on going, you got to get there early,
right?
Because they'll go quick.
I'm shocked. Like I didn't mention it's All-Star Weekend. That's why they're doing it, because he'll be available. But 2, I'm shocked it's this early, because I thought they would wait a couple years. You remember how long it took Romeo Travis to get there? Well, again, though, none of these guys were an NBA prospect.
No, none of these guys, they all went overseas and played in Europe and stuff like that.
Where Enrique broke records, NCAA records and all that. I thought Christian Lauren Jackson would have been the next one I would have put money on to get his jersey retired.
His jersey will be retired soon.
Yeah, I absolutely believe it. I mean, because it's similar to Romeo Travis. He was MAC Player of the Year.
I mean, right now these guys are over in Europe. I'm sure Jackson won't be here. Didn't Jackson play for Ricky?
Maybe his last year.
I think last year, Ricky's Jackson was a senior when Ricky was
right.
But those guys are right now still overseas playing, so I don't know if they'll be there. But I'm hoping some of the guys show up. I think they will. I know the other night, Ali was at the game.
Yeah, I think Greg Tribble or somebody will show up. I'm just guessing right now, but thank you for bringing that up, Bob. I almost forgot. Yeah, number 25 for the Akron Zips will be retired in the name of Ricky.
In the rafters with some of the greats of Akron youth. So Leonard Paul's up there. Joe Chakubik is up there in the rafters. So it's going to be
a couple of solid names. There's some that blast from past.
And the good thing about it is I got to see all 4 years of his play.
Right.
Right. I got to see, he was good.
Absolutely. He's still good. And he's with the Indiana Pacers, and it's one of the better things that happened.
I mean, he became the only first Zip ever to start an NBA game.
Right. Right. And I think he'll get
we
another
had some
chance.
Guys drafted by the NBA, but they never started a game. But
or panned out or anything. Yeah. Speaking of local success stories, there's another one too, Bob, that happened over this past week. It won't be a number retiring, but it's a great opportunity, and it's an opportunity he had briefly, and then he got demoted to learn a little bit, and now he's got the opportunity again. Canton native, Glen Oak graduate, former Cleveland Brown, Brian Hartline is going to be the new offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
There was rumor that Moorhead was going to go down to Ohio State.
Really?
I did hear that. His name was brought up in the conversation.
Well, with his experience and all that,
yeah. But luckily, he's supposed to be staying with Akron. So
Right. And I'm glad because we did see improvement last year. I'd like to see him at least get a third year, and we get a better look there. But Brian Hartline, kid out of Canton, he attended Ohio State. I remember when he played for them. and now he's going to be the O coordinator there for Ohio State, replacing Chip Kelly, who went to the Raiders. So they're still looking for a D coordinator, but O coordinator's been taken. But yeah, this is a guy. He actually, it wasn't a great year, but he ended his career with the Cleveland Browns. You know, we all like to see it, but we were hoping it was going to pan out better than what it did. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? But he's still an Ohio kid, and you know he's just in love working with the Buckeyes, the team his alma mater, the team he played for, and now he's going to have a bigger part of it. So that's all good there.
Look at that. You got a guy going to the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. You got a guy from Mount Union that just won the Super Bowl.
Right.
You know, so some of the Ohio kids are doing good.
I do want to correct myself there. I think he coached a bit, but he played Sirianni for the Eagles. He played 3 seasons where they won championship.
Yeah, he won national titles.
Yeah, I think he was a running back. Yeah. But I said coached in our first segment, and I think he was a coach for a brief time.
He did coach for briefly.
Yeah, but he wasn't the head coach.
No,
I came off as the head coach.
He was under Krebs.
Yeah.
Krebs was the head coach then. The father, not the son. The son's the coach now.
Right, there you go. So, baseball.
It's spring training.
Pitchers and catchers reports at the end of the week there, Bob. Guards haven't really done anything.
Yeah.
I did see a couple moves I'm going to just briefly mention, like Connor Joe signed with the Padres. He's a infield, outfield type guy, a good veteran there, decent bat. Former Indians prospect Rob Kaminsky signed a minor league deal with the Cardinals. I don't know if you remember him. He was a lefty.
No, I don't remember.
2010's the era there. Kiki and his name's Enrique, but I think he goes by Kiki. Hernandez is going back to the Dodgers on the deal, of course, pending physical. He was huge in the playoffs in the World Series last year. He played his heart out. And actually, his last year was so much better because he had eye surgery in the last offseason. Big difference, because when he was playing for the Dodgers the year before, he did well, but there was times his fielding was a little bit off balance. Like he wasn't his normal self, and his hitting was inconsistent. It turned out he needs some minor eye surgery, and then also he's a different player. So he's there. Jason Hayward, I did see, is going to play for the Padres. And funny enough, the Padres do not like the Dodgers very much. He played enough for the Dodgers last year. He's entitled to a ring. So they said they've already set the date when the Padres come to town. They're going to present him with the ring.
Well,
and
he deserves it.
Right.
He had a hell of a World Series.
He wasn't in the World Series. He was with the Astros.
That's right.
Yeah. He hit a game-winning hit his last game with the Dodgers, and they informed him, hey, we had somebody coming back from the DL. We need to get rid of somebody, so bye-bye. He went on waivers. He went to the Astros, did pretty decent there. I didn't like the way they parted with him. It was kind of
well,
but they were so loaded.
He deserves it.
Right. They were so loaded at the time, but anyway, yes, spring training's here.
But pitchers and catchers report to Goodyear, Arizona on Friday, 14th.
It won't be just the guards. It'll be Terry Francona and the Reds will be reporting in Goodyear.
They're in Goodyear, Arizona too.
It's same field and everything. And the first exhibition games are always between those two.
You ever been to the Goodyear complex?
I want to.
It's a beautiful stadium, sits out in no man's land, and the airport's right behind you. As you go into the gate, if you go to the right, it takes you back to the Reds complex. You go to the left, you go to the Indians complex. And, of course, there's like 8 ball fields over here, 8 ball fields over here, and you got the main stadium here. You ever get a chance to go out there spring training, you can go watch both teams practice. It's free. It don't cost nothing to watch them. You can sit down by the fence and watch them practice. And like I said, don't cost nothing. Now, it costs money to go into the games if they're playing, the spring training games.
It's cheap, though.
It's cheap. And get you a nice dog and suds and sit there in the sun and
in the hot sun. You're in Arizona there. I will tell you, Bob, everybody I know that's attended spring training has raved about it. If you're a baseball fan, this is baseball heaven. Like, your brother told me a story I didn't know. He goes down, I think, once a year or once every other year.
He used to go about every other year.
Yeah. And he was telling me some stories. He goes, I love it. He goes, if I could go down there more, I would.
We were talking about not too long ago, just about maybe going back out there. I used to go out there every other year because of the fact of the scouting meetings.
Yeah.
You know, the Midwest scout team went out every other year, and so it had good times. You know,
I know a guy in Akron here, not involved with baseball at all, but got set up years ago. I don't know how long ago, but it was, I think, within the past 10 years or so. Got the opportunity to work a spring training only job for the San Francisco Giants. And they're in Arizona too, and he goes down there all the time. He looks forward to it every year. He's not a Giants fan, for the record. He just works for them, and he just says
they're over in Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah, and he says it's the best. It's his all-time favorite job compared to because he's got multiple jobs, but compared to everything else he does, he goes he looks forward to it every year because he says we just have so much fun. It just. He works in the offices and whatnot, and he's around the game. But
if you get a chance to go out to a spring training game or go out there for the week,
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you what, you'll have a blast. A lot to see and do.
And that's Florida too, not just Arizona.
Yeah, Florida too. But our two teams, the Reds and the Indians, are out in Goodyear, Arizona, and the weather's a little warmer out in Arizona than it is in Florida in February and March.
Right.
You know, but it's nice out there. So.
Absolutely, and I know I have family that live in Phoenix, Arizona, and they said they don't mind it because they said that the people traveling are very nice, and the atmosphere is just incredible. Like you feel the love of baseball just in there, and these are not big baseball people either, but it's just there's something about when you're around all of that. It's a warm, great feeling, and
well, baseball is a family thing too.
It is, yeah.
You know. But anyway, we, like I said, when I was stationed in Miami years ago, of course I lived in West Palm Beach. We had the West Palm Beach was a home for the Atlanta Braves and the Montreal Expos at the time. So
Washington Nationals now, yeah.
Yeah, so I used to go over and watch some spring training games over there. You know, but we didn't have the Marlins down in Miami at the time.
Right.
You know, it was strictly all minor league.
Or Tampa Bay, yeah.
Yeah. But it was all minor league stuff. And I was always curious about why they put a major league teams in the state of Florida, because there's so many minor league teams down there, and it cuts into there. Because even after spring training, these minor league teams are playing their games. You know, so that's the reason why I really think Miami and Tampa Bay don't draw like the other major cities do, because of the fact there's so much baseball down there. Minor league baseball is great.
There's more to do too. Like that was the problem when LeBron and the Big Three were with the Miami Heat. They didn't sell tickets like you thought because there's so much more to do in Miami. Nobody cared.
You know?
And that was one of the best teams at the time. So it's a whole debate. We could do a whole show on it, but no, I mean I would love to be in Florida around all that.
Get a chance, get out to Arizona. Watch your Indians. I'm sorry, your Guardians.
Yeah.
And your Reds. Get out to Arizona. I'm telling you, it'll be the best vacation you ever had, and you'll probably want to go back. You'll want to go back, guaranteed. But their ballpark out there in Goodyear is awesome.
Yeah. I was going to mention something else, but we got to wrap it up. We'll talk more next week about it because we'll have plenty of time to talk about spring training the next month or so. When we come back next week, we'll talk about NBA All-Star break. We'll talk about Zips in Ohio State. We'll go for there. A lot of basketball the next month. So there's a lot to talk about. You guys have a safe Valentine's Day. And as always, go Cavs, Zips, and Buckeyes. Have a good one.